Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of In the Loupe. It's been around a week since I returned from the 41st World Diamond Congress in Singapore. After catching up from the trip, I wanted to share one message that stayed with me long after I returned. Before I left, I expected the Congress to focus primarily on tariffs, supply, pricing, synthetic diamonds, and the many challenges facing the industry. And those topics certainly were discussed. But after several days of listening to government ministers, industry leaders, manufacturers, miners, retailers, and trade organizations from all around the world, I came home with a very different impression, perhaps even more valuable than the panel discussions and the formal IDMA and WFDB meetings were the conversations that were shared over meals and coffee breaks. Those informal discussions with colleagues from every corner of the world provided insights that are simply impossible to gain during our normal hectic business lives. One message kept surfacing again and again. While our industry must continue to defend the integrity of diamonds, our future will ultimately depend on something much more. It will depend on how successfully we inspire the next generation of consumers while strengthening the desire that already exists. To me, that was the single biggest takeaway from Singapore. One of the most memorable speeches came from Botswana's Minister of Minerals and Energy, Bokholo Kinawendo. She challenged us to think differently about the language that we use. Maybe rather than constantly qualifying natural diamonds, perhaps we should simply call them what they really are, diamonds. Now, I've long believed that words matter and consumers deserve terminology that is clear, accurate, and transparent. That's why I continue to believe that synthetic diamonds should be identified for exactly what they are, which are synthetic diamonds. Not because we're trying to disparage them, but because consumers deserve clarity, and that discussion remains important. But another message from Singapore may have been even more significant. World Diamond Council President Ronnie van der Linden challenged all of us to focus on something our industry has always done well: create desire. Think about it. The decision to buy a diamond has never been based solely on logic. It's always based on emotion. A diamond celebrates love, celebrates achievement, celebrates commitment, and life's most meaningful milestones. That emotional connection is what made diamonds one of the world's most successful luxury products of all time. Our challenge today is not simply to preserve that connection, but to strengthen it for the next generation. Another observation discussed throughout the Congress is that the rarest and the most exceptional diamonds continue to demonstrate remarkable resilience. And that should remind us all of something very important. Authenticity, rarity, beauty, these qualities never go out of style. But the strength of our industry has never depended solely on extraordinary diamonds. It's always depended on millions of people celebrating engagements, anniversaries, birthdays, and personal milestones with a diamond. Our responsibility is to ensure that future generations appreciate diamonds for the same reason that generations before them did. Now, let me also be perfectly clear. Nothing I've said today means that we should stop defending the industry. I continue to believe that synthetic diamonds should be identified for exactly what they are, synthetic diamonds. And when misleading claims are made about natural diamonds, we have every right, and I would argue every obligation, to respond with the facts. But we cannot allow ourselves to become defined by those responses. Our primary mission must always be to tell the remarkable story that only a natural diamond can tell. To me, these are not competing ideas. We can insist on accurate terminology. We can challenge misinformation whenever necessary. But at the very same time, we can inspire a new generation of consumers to appreciate one of nature's greatest miracles. If there's one message I brought home from Singapore, it's this: the future of our industry will not be secured by defense alone. Yes, we must insist on accurate terminology. Yes, we must challenge misinformation whenever it appears. But at the same time, we must inspire. We must create desire. We must remind people why, for generations, a diamond has represented life's most meaningful moments. Because a natural diamond isn't simply another luxury product. It's one of nature's greatest miracles. And that's a story worth telling. Thank you for joining me in another edition of In the Loop. Have a great week.